All right, now we're live.
Cool.
So I'm here with Peter Bunor. So Peter,
Yeah,
you're like the first person I'm having here on this show, and
I feel special.
um, yes, do you want to talk about yourself or?
I have a bad habit of not knowing how to talk about myself. My name is Peter. I what do I mean? Look, I work at a
Oh,
company called Field. Othman and I used to work together.
yeah,
Uh, I like to read a lot of books. I
yeah.
do a lot of reading. Watch a lot of stuff. That's a very short, compressed history of who I
No,
am.
actually, that's really good. And you forgot to mention that you were a childhood.
Yeah, I always forget that part.
Yeah, childhood style.
Yeah.
And I know you, Peter, like since 2015, 2016. And I know you with three things. And if someone is gonna wake me up from sleep and ask me, say three things about Peter, I'll say he knows a lot about tech, he knows a lot about business, and a lot about books, right?
That's
These
that's
are,
impressive.
yeah, these are like three things I can always beat my chest. And like you've recommended some books that, so I think for the benefit of this discussion, maybe we'll center it into three topics,
Okay.
right? Um, Books, tech, and maybe startups or business,
Sure. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So which one do you want to go first with?
I mean, look, it's your show. It's the first one. Let's get into it. You can pick up whichever way.
All right. So we were talking about my review on Max Yulin's book.
Yeah.
You said you've read,
So I've read all the other books. I haven't read the current one.
yeah,
Uh, and I think all these books are great. I think uh, every Nigerian flat out, I think should read it.
yeah,
But I also think every Nigerian who's interested in history, government, how things are shaped up,
mm-hmm,
should read them generally, at least to get a sense of. I think as Nigerians, a lot of times, a lot of us struggle, a lot of people struggle with really understanding all the things that have happened
mm-hmm.
in the past and how they continue to shape and influence things that go on now. So I think a lot of people should read all Max Yolun's book. This is not a paid recommendation. This is from someone who has read them and liked them.
Yeah, someone recommended one of his books, but I think I've only where my interest is was probably pre-colonial, and
Mhm.
that's how I got like that book. And but generally speaking, I would like to read it just to get general knowledge, but
Mhm.
I was more interested in pre-colonial because like this is one topic that even if you check on my TikTok page, you will say I've always wanted to learn and talk about pre-colonial Nigeria because
Yeah.
I believe like probably things worked better then than what we currently have now.
I think better is very relative and is also dependent on, what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um a lot of things were not great for a lot of people in that time. Let's be
Yeah,
factual.
yeah.
So I think it's very relative and it depends on what lens you're looking at
Mm,
it. But I
mm.
also think it's very important to understand that, we're not just existing that they were organized societies.
Mm-hmm.
There are societies that organize themselves in this part of the world.
Mm,
And it very often goes against the typical narrative.
mm-hmm.
So I think learning that, reading that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad that a lot of people in Nigeria, history is not taught
Yeah,
like that. So
yeah.
it's not a thing that people grow up learning. But I think it's super important that we should
It
learn.
is,
Yeah.
it is learning where we come from.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, like, which particular book would you say really like struck you or changed something in you?
That is a very hard question, Hoffman. Um,
Or you can give two or three.
it's a very hard question because I've read a lot of books in my life.
Mm-hmm.
My usual thing is I'm reading multiple books per time. There is one I'm reading now. It's a very business focused book. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman.
Mm-hmm.
It was recommended to me by someone called Babajide. Babajide, he's the GM at Mkopa Nigeria. Shout out to Babajide. He recommended Traction by Gino Wickman,
Okay,
and I ended up buying it for all the managers on my team.
nice.
I just bought it for everybody. I'm like, yep, you all go read this book. I think it's a great book to read to understand how to really structure and set up a business and how to grow. So I think I'll definitely put traction there.
Mm.
The other two ones then become even harder for me. And so I'm trying to parse it in my head to see
Just
which
to give
ones.
you an idea, I think one of the books I've read that really struck me
Mhm.
was you recommended it to me. I think it's Outliers.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Outliers.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one really changed like the way I see things, and there were a lot of things to talk about. But that's just one. But I'm sure you have many, but maybe it's a very tight corner.
It's a tough one for me to answer. I
Yeah.
really liked all the Gladwell books. Again, he has more than he has Outliers, he has What the Dog Saw,
Mm-hmm.
Tipping Point.
Yeah.
There's another one I can't remember, or two others I can't remember.
There's Revenge of the Tipping Point.
Revenge of the Tipping Point.
Yeah.
So I think for me,
Mm.
what I've always tried to find is a way to understand myself better, but a way to also understand the world better.
Mm-hmm.
And in whatever context.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I've looked for in the books that I've tried to read.
Yeah.
But again, I read super widely. I read everything across any field. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a very hard question because there was a time I met like the vice president at Roving Site,
Yeah.
and the first question I asked him was, recommend a book to me. And I think he got stuck. He just collected my phone, typed in his number, then said he would send me. He sent me a list
Look,
like
I can show you a list of books.
yeah,
It's
like
long.
but I think for me, I think it's something that I never quite forget. Like the books that really struck me and really like Sapiens now. You understand? They're mostly the popular books, but I still see them as like books that really hit a nerve or change something. So
I mean, I think yes. I think a book that connects with you,
mm-hmm,
you have to feel it inside of you in a way. So I
mm,
think that's sort of the way to describe it. You have to feel something. It has to strike you almost in a way that storms you into momentary breathlessness. You're like,
mm,
oh,
mm-hmm, mm,
and so I think when you find that combination in a book, it just becomes this really important thing.
mm,
The problem, though, I don't know if it's a problem, is when you read a lot of books over the years,
yeah.
you then find multiple gems. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many books just running through my head when I mean, there's the Poor Charlie's Almanac. There's this set of essays by Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The Naval Ravikant one.
I don't remember what it's called.
I have it here somewhere.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But again, I think that
Yeah.
and I think good books,
The Almanac, right?
the Almanac of
Yeah.
Naval Ravikant.
Yeah.
I think these books just have been really, really massive in the way they've stuck with me or left things with me
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. But like, I could give you a very long list. I keep a running list on my phone
Mm-hmm.
of books I want to read. It never ends. I doubt I'll ever be able to read all
So
of them.
there's this problem I've been facing
Yeah.
recently with books. Like you read the first few chapters, then you lose interest completely. I used to think this was a general issue. My problem, it was
Yeah.
a problem with me. Like I can't finish a book. Then I realized, like even Naval, like he said it in one of
That's
his
what I was going
YouTube.
to reference.
Yeah, he said it in one of his YouTube videos about that.
Yeah.
That like there are books that you don't have to read them all.
That changed the way I read.
Okay.
So before that, my thing used to be that if I started the book, I had to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember but I then started struggling as again, like you described, where I couldn't. Some books would lose me at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while, I'll pick them back up.
Yeah.
And it was not until I watched that YouTube, that Naval's YouTube, maybe
Yeah.
3 times, and I got to the point where it really centered, like God drilled into me, like it's not an academic exercise. I'm not reading for an exam.
Yeah.
So if it bores me in that moment, I drop it. So which is why when I say I read multiple books per time, I'm reading like 4 or 5 books across different areas per time. It's just the way it works for me.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a problem, but again, if anyone sees this and takes any advice,
Yeah.
it's not an academic exercise. If it's boring you in the moment, keep it. Read something else. You'll come back to it or not. That's fine.
So, yes, maybe we move on to the next topic, right?
Sure.
But one last thing about books. Um, do you think you'd ever write a book?
So this is probably where I expose myself.
Yeah.
I'd actually started writing a book maybe in 2015, 16.
Mm,
Um, I, I like to say I have an agent who has always wanted me to publish. I've never done that.
really?
Yeah, if she sees this, she's going to kill me. Her name is Debbie.
Okay.
Debbie Edwards in England. Yeah, I think I would. I've always wanted to walk into a bookstore and buy a copy of a book that has my name. I think it's an ego thing, and I'm admitting it. I don't care if it sells like 100 copies.
Yeah.
I feel like I really want to walk into a bookstore and see a book that has my name. It'll do something for me that I can't describe.
And what do you think that book would be about? Is it like your journey in life or
I think the first one will very likely be fiction.
fiction?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I think that, yeah, fiction.
yeah.
Will very likely be fiction.
Yeah, talking about fiction, we didn't talk about any fiction.
And that's an interesting thing
Yeah.
because I find that some people are, oh, I only read serious books.
Yeah.
I don't read fiction. I think that is weird. I very strongly think that.
Yeah.
I think the pleasure with reading is that you can go across vast timelines. As I walked in here, I saw the Chichinlu,
Yeah, yeah.
the three body problem,
Yeah.
the dark forest,
Yeah.
and I think there's so much to learn and
Yeah.
absorb. But also sometimes life is hard.
Yeah, you need
Lose yourself
Yeah.
into a great book of fiction. It's not every time how to find the next million.
Yeah.
Don't
Nah.
just lose. So for me, the kind of fiction I read a lot of high fantasy. So I really like fantasy. So the Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
the Wheel of
Have you
Time.
read The Sword of Kagan?
I haven't. I will take every recommendation for fantasy. I'm trying to buy some more. So the problem is I don't see a lot of fantasy to buy in Nigeria. So I have to buy them when I'm not in Nigeria. So I'll take recommendations for fantasy. I really like high fantasy. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to
How about sci-fi?
yes.
Yeah,
Three
sci-fi.
body problem.
Yeah.
I have the
There's
entire
this
Dune
one,
series.
Project Hail Mary.
I've heard of it, but I
Oh
haven't
my
read it.
God. Oh my God. If
haven't
I'm going
read
to
it.
recommend any book to anybody,
Yeah.
that would be the first one.
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah,
I haven't read it,
Project
but I've
Hail
heard.
Mary.
I think I saw someone talking about it.
Yeah.
I can't remember where.
Crazy, mad. It really I enjoyed reading it.
Nice.
All right then. Now let's go into startups, startups business. What's one thing you wish people knew, or one thing they should know, people that are going into startups or starting a new business? What's one thing you wish they knew before?
It's
Or
hard.
what's something you wish you knew
It's
before
hard.
you? Really?
It's hard.
It's
I think that
Is it a Nigerian problem?
it's
or-
hard everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's especially harder in Nigeria. That's the way I would put it. I think even if you're starting a business in America, it is hard. The macros are probably better. The market is probably more set up, but it is hard. But in Nigeria, it is especially hard. So I think it is. People have glamorized starting a business
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And so people will do it out of ego sometimes,
Yeah.
or for the wrong reasons. I think there are easier ways to make money than starting a business. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
There are way easier ways to make money than starting a business. Now, sometimes when you say these things, it sounds like, oh, because you've been involved with it, you don't want people to do it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you say, well, who no go, no. That used to be your title on Slack, or a thing on your Slack. So ultimately, sometimes people have to experience the absolute bone-crushing difficulty of it to really understand what it is.
Is it worth it?
I think so. But it also depends on the person and what you are looking for, right? So, for example, for me, like to make this very personal, I find it extremely hard to work with or work for bosses that I don't think I can learn from, or that I can learn,
Yeah.
anything from. That's one. Secondly, I have a very ridiculous fascination with very hard problems. And so, the harder the problem, the more interesting it is to me. I very often beat myself up to wish I was not that way. it's how I'm wired. It's taking me a bit of time to come to that point.
Yeah.
And so if you have a combination of those things, now money is, this is going to sound weird. Money is not the main driver for it. That doesn't mean I don't like money or the things money does.
Yeah.
But money is not my main driver.
Yeah. What is it, like solving problems or?
It's a very interesting mix of solving a hard problem and almost like bragging in a sense that I did that. And I'm being perfectly honest now. This does not mean that I don't want the money. Let's establish it. If you give me money, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I want, if you give me an easy one, I'll take it.
Yeah.
However, the thing that keeps me going very more often than not, because like I said, there are easier ways. There are way easier ways to make a lot of money than starting a business. If you are smart, if you are driven, if you have agency, there are easier ways to make money.
True.
Because you not even probably make a lot of money very early when you start the business, if we are being perfectly honest.
Yeah. But with like startups now, especially in terms of tech, tech startups springing up and fintechs like all over Nigeria right now, is there a problem they're solving now, or because I've seen many posts, people complaining like these fintechs are just springing up and looking for just like um, funding and payouts and all that to just exit, right? Nothing really new, or like the problems they're solving are not really major problems. Like right now, a major problem we have in Nigeria in terms of payment is like an escrow, where missing something like an escrow system, whereby a buyer and a seller don't know who to trust, right? So a buyer might buy a product from someone that is selling. I might see the product and may not want to pay, or like there may be issues and so on. So there is something lacking there, and this is the problem that we keep having right now.
So to challenge that, right? My question would be, it is a problem for who?
For many people that are doing businesses.
So, like first, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert in fintech. I know a lot of it, but I'm not an expert. But however, I think that businesses set up to solve problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Most times, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
I will push back a bit, but however, yes, most businesses set up to solve problems. Right?
Yeah.
Fine, valid. And so the way I look at it is, if there's a problem that I experience, and I start to look around and I say, look, there's no proper solution to this problem. And then I believe that I'm uniquely qualified, my point of view is uniquely qualified towards solving that. I don't think there should be any barriers to me trying to solve that problem and build a business around it. That's my general framing of it.
Yeah.
Now, when people say there's too many fintechs, the question that I have, as always, is what does that even mean? And so that's where I start. Like, okay, are they solving a problem? Whatever. Now, again, a lot of it, do I think that generally there's a lot of fintechs that look like some other ones? Yes. I don't fundamentally see the problem. And maybe I haven't thought deeply enough about it. Are they gainfully employing people? Yes. Are they contributing whatever percentages they are to people being able to transact freely and easily? Yes. I don't know where the problem is. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. You also have to remember that as a user in Nigeria, for example, your switching costs are very low. We can walk out there and open a bank account now and never put 1 naira into it. Facts. So your switching costs are very low. So if you say that there are too many fintechs, the real question is, how many of them do you actually really use?
Yeah. And which problems are they solving?
And which problems are they? Now, the fact that they are not solving a problem for you as an individual does not mean they are not solving a problem for someone else. I think there's often the mistake by some people to look at Nigeria as one homogeneous entity. You and I, in the course of our work, have been to all sorts of places, and we can tell, that there's a lot of differences.
Yeah.
And so, if it's not working for you in Lagos or Abuja, it might be working for me in Delta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or somewhere else. So I think ultimately it's almost a sort of a form of lazy commentary to say there's too many without really understanding who they are serving and what they are serving those people. That's how I see it.
Good point. Good point. But yeah, I believe that. But how about getting funding for like VCs? Do we have them here in Nigeria, and is it easy for startups to get them?
I mean, there are VCs in Nigeria. Raising funding, raising venture funding is one of the hardest activities to man. Maybe that's
everywhere a bit. Everywhere or just Nigeria?
I think it's hard everywhere, but again, it's especially hard here. There's not a lot of pools of capital that are sitting and are ready to invest with the knowledge that they may lose that investment in Nigeria. Let's be factual. Right? Whereas if you were in the US, there's a lot more pool. I'm using the US very specifically.
Yeah.
There's a lot more pool of capital. There's a larger pool of capital that is sitting, that is accustomed to the fact that, look, we might lose this money. But 1 in 10, I think that's the VC power law or the VC math. 1 in 10 needs to, be successful to pay for the whole round or something of that sort. Right? Yeah. So it's not as common or popular in Nigeria to go into an investment with that mindset. Imagine going to tell an uncle or a dad, like, look, give me $100,000, but he may come to zero and you won't get anything. You're looking at him like, who's this crazy? So that's the difference.
And we have very few of them here in Nigeria.
I think
like that or organizations.
So there's VCs, there's local VCs, there's VCs in country.
Okay.
I don't have a sense of what the number is, but there's all sorts of VCs that
do
exist.
Do banks also?
Not necessarily, no. No, banks will not. The reason why we bank is that you put your money into a safe place and they hold it. Venture investment by nature of it is extremely risky, so banks will not do that.
Interesting. Then I think I'm not sure if there's anything you want to also add on this topic in terms of people starting up businesses. I've always believed that there are two types of people, right? There's the businessman or business person and the investor. I believe like if people can't go into business, like someone like me, I'm terrible with business. I don't think I don't think I have the patience, because there's something I believe, maybe it's like living here, but like if I can't do something with my hands by myself with my head, I don't think I can do it. I can maybe delegate someone or outsource it, because I've heard stories in terms of
but again, I think that's people have to know themselves, but I think you make a great operator. I don't think that necessarily you have to be the one to start the business, but I think that if someone started a business, or if you collaborated with someone to start a business in an area that you were absolutely interested in, bringing your subject matter expertise, but just your ability to execute and get things done, that's also a massive skill set. I think the problem is that everybody wants to be CEO, or most people want to be CEO. Right? And that's because there's a title, there's all the perks or whatever come with that title. I think that's a problem in and of itself. I don't think that everybody should. I also think there's different types of CEOs.
Okay.
I think that there's some of them that will start a business, and I think there are the others that are better at taking it from that point when it has grown, and managing it and scaling it, because there's processes. There's also, I'll use myself as a personal example. I start to get bored after a while. It's the reality of it. It's how I am. I need the chaos of the early stage. So I very often say that I think that I'm at my best taking that 0 to 1 risk.
Really?
I think if you asked me, I think that is me at my best. I think that when things start to stabilize, they get too calm for me.
So that state that you are most comfortable with, is it like the scale up phase or just the starting phase?
I think it's very clearly from the beginning.
From the grass.
Beginning, from
Wow.
grass, like from idea, nothing on the table. I think you throw me into that. That is me at my most functional. I think that when it gets to a certain point, the way my head works is, okay, we've grown it up to this point. Things are delegated to teams. I start to think, okay, what's next? And what's next then becomes either what is next for the business or how do we make this even bigger? It doesn't do the same thing for me as starting it and getting it there. There's people who are better at that phase.
So at that phase that you're most comfortable with, a lot of times there's this conflicting period where whether you need to pivot into
something
else or continue that path, stay the course. So how do you like go through that phase? Like what's the right way to go through it?
I don't know if there's a right way to go through it.
Yeah.
What I would say from personal experience is you have to really figure out a couple of things. One of the things is, what are we really trying to do? And is there this whole product market fit? But to say it in a way that's less cliched, is there a market for this thing we're trying to do? As people who start businesses, it's very easy to be absolutely in love with the idea.
Yeah.
Even if nobody's willing to pay.
Yep.
Now, you need to very quickly figure out, are there people who are willing to pay and who love this? That's one. But also, how many of those people exist? And then make your decisions on the basis of that. Sometimes you'll find that there's enough people who like what you're providing, willing to pay, that you can keep going.
Yeah.
Other times you'll find that, look, it's just a very small number of people. You can't really build a big successful business out of this. So maybe we need to go into something else. Again, it also depends on what people are looking for. If you're looking to build a small business, that just keeps it going. So you could also decide to stay with your very small customer base and do that. At least this is how I mostly think about it. Again, I don't think there's any hard and fast rule, but ultimately it's a business. A business is built and meant to make money, right? Provide a good or a service and get people to pay for it. If you cannot get that, then it is not a business. I think that fundamental needs to be very clear. It's a business when you have people who are paying money for a good or a service. If it doesn't get to that point, it's not a business.
And many people always confuse like startup with a typical kind of business. What are the differences like?
I would say that, okay, so for technology businesses, one of the key things is like you want to, and a lot of this is in flux just because of the way the world is.
Yeah.
But you want to start a business.
Yeah.
Leverage technology and get it to scale very quickly without necessarily increasing the number of people or the size of people you have working on it. So, for example, if I started a company now, say I built a thing and I could put it on the internet and millions of people could use it as is. Right? That's a different kind of business from if I start a dry cleaning business.
Yeah.
Where I need to hire all the people that will have to individually do that. So the dry cleaning business, you can see, is heavily dependent on the people that I can hire to manage the machines or do the laundry or do the ironing or do the delivery. Whereas if I started something that I put online and people can use, it's not dependent necessarily on having almost a one-to-one relation of people that it can serve. That then means that the way they are valued are very different. And I think a lot of it comes down to the valuation of it or the way the valuation happens. I'm not an expert, but the way they are valued then becomes very different. Because if I have the potential to start a business that can get to 1 million people using technology as my primary as my lever, it is very different from you starting a business or starting another business that needs to physically serve 1 million people. The requirements are massively different.
Okay. Okay.
So it is that framing
Yeah.
that helps people say, okay, this is how we are going to value this business. This is how we are going to think about this business. A thing that I've seen people do
Yeah.
is you find a traditional business and then you think, okay, how can I take this traditional business, and then how can I leverage technology to improve how it operates, help it operate faster, help it operate leaner? Because again, one of the things you'll notice with a lot of technology businesses, the average, they don't hire as many people as a factory would. So it's why this thing where you can celebrate lots of technology companies.
Yeah.
You will hire people, but it's not going to hire a lot of people. You need heavy industry, you need agriculture to suck in a mass, right? So I think it's understanding that fundamental difference, or those kind of differences, and then thinking around what actually is my business. That I think that.
Interesting. And since we're already talking about technology and we've spoken a lot about it, so where do you see like Nigeria in terms of like the technology space? Like, are we heading in the right direction? Because what I see is like we have individual talents and individual people that are just like tech focused, very good in tech, but there isn't, the ecosystem doesn't really like support that. We don't have tech companies that like really building like the chips, the AI, delving into that. We're still way behind in terms of that.
You can't separate those things you described from the quality of education. So let's start from that point. You
Okay.
can't really, I mean, a lot of AI is mathematics and statistics, right? You have to think about how many mathematicians do we graduate? What is the quality of the schools? There used to be the cowbell mathematics competition back in there. I don't know if it still happens. All of those things, right?
Yeah.
It kind of almost fizzled out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I know a few people that are doing things now in different small spaces, but are trying to bring back like math Olympiads. Chip making has a lot of subcomponents. There's a metallurgy, there's material science, you need heavy fabs. We don't produce
Yeah.
in good quantity and quality the people you need for those kind of things. Let's establish that and realize it. Right?
So you mean we don't have those kind of people, or
No, no,
they're
no.
not
I'm not
really?
saying we don't have
Yeah,
them, but
yeah.
I'm saying if you look at the absolute numbers that you would need,
Yeah.
I don't think that we are producing anywhere near enough. Well, I'm almost willing to bet that right now, today, there's still Nigerian universities that will teach you coding and you have to write on paper.
True.
My niece and nephew have been doing robotics since they were in GS2 or GS3.
Yeah.
But you're in university, you are learning how to write code on paper. You don't know if it runs. So if you look at it from that background, right, you're probably studying material science or metals and metallurgy.
Yeah.
Maybe there's only one or two schools doing it. What does your lab look like? Right? And so it's very easy to think about technology and think about it as the ability to write code or
Yeah.
move pixels around. But that is not all technology is. And you can't divorce your ability to grow in it from how you can educate people. Now, the education part doesn't have to be like formal university where you go through a 4-year course or a 3-year course, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to teach a lot of people or teach people
Yeah.
and get them to grow and get them to work on things, earn a living and grow through it.
Interesting. Because like we always think it's just people maybe writing code and that's it.
That's not all that technology
That-
is. It's important. You can
Yeah.
do a lot of things with that. But even at that level, right, when you think about it, I saw something the other day on Twitter, X now. Most of our best talent
Yeah.
have either left or are leaving. And this is a fact. Lots of people have gone Tech Nation, the UK. There's people in Holland.
But we still have
Germany.
the Andela and all that.
You can look at what the outputs are, compare it to what it used to be.
But they are also like outsourcing, right?
Exactly, they're all outsourcing firms.
For life in general, like maybe this will be the last topic. Life in general, like how have you been? What's been going on with you?
I mean, I've been good. Everybody's dealing with
Yeah.
the country and the world. I think it's been interesting.
And you've been traveling, right?
Yes.
Kenya
A lot
and
of-
which
I've not gone to Nepal like you.
I know
Nepal I still want to go to, but I think it's been interesting. It's been a lot of doing, a lot of movement, almost constant travel.
Yeah.
But
And have you seen a place like in Africa where you wouldn't mind like relocating to?
yeah, more than one. Yeah,
Really?
more than one. I actually really like Nairobi.
Nairobi, right? I see you a lot there having fun.
I really like Nairobi.
Right.
Yeah. I also really like Cape Town as a city. I mean,
Not Johannesburg.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Joburg, so
Okay.
I don't really know Joburg like that. I spent more time in Cape Town.
Okay.
I went to Rabat recently.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was very interesting. I really liked Rabat. Where else? I think there's a couple of places I would like. I think Dakar.
Quite expensive though, but
Yeah.
How is it compared to like how is the like living standards in Nairobi? How would you rate it compared to Nigeria?
That's a difficult question to answer.
Like, is it more expensive?
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
It is,
expensive.
right?
It's expensive.
Is it because of the
I mean,
currency?
taxes are higher.
Oh,
There's the
taxes.
whole thing with taxes.
Yeah.
Rents. Yeah, I think it'll be those.
Yeah, one thing I like always get shocked with whenever I travel to other African countries, I comparing it to Nigeria, I don't see like the rush that Nigerians have.
Yeah.
Right? We expect things immediately. We do things in a hurry. We try to get things fast done. And when I go to other places, everywhere is chilled and like, don't be in a rush. Why are you rushing? Where are you rushing
feel
to?
you.
So like sometimes to get a delivery might not be instant, might be some days, like those kind of things.
I think our rush is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, right.
It's a blessing in the sense that a lot of who we are, what we are like, as Nigerians, is driven by our aggression, our never say die, our keep butting your head against that wall, breaking through.
Yeah.
A lot of the things we are able to do is driven by that. At the same time, it can come off as very brash, very loud, very irritating, very too aggressive.
Yeah.
But I very often say to people sometimes that you have to understand the Nigeria that we are in or that we grew up in to understand that it's like almost a constant fight for for survival.
Yeah.
And so it's almost built into us that look, you have to go and take it. Like no look time, no waste time, no sleeping.
Yeah, I just enjoy that sometimes because like when I'm buying something from someone, maybe online, the person is also in a hurry to sell it to me. I'm also in a
Because
hurry
you could
to
change your
get
mind.
it. Yeah, and I'm also in a hurry to buy it. So we're all in a rush, and maybe the only person delaying might be the delivery guy, but every other thing, like, and it's kind of fun because like I get the things I want immediately. I just wish we had more stores and more things, more options, and when new things come out, like we have access to them. But that's where we only have a problem.
Yeah, I know. I really think it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I think it could be good, but it has its downsides. That's where we are set up as Nigerians to want to go after things and chase things. Yeah, it's just who we are.
Nice, nice. All right, with that, we'll just wrap it up and say thank you,
Thank you
Peter.
very much,
Thank
Othman,
you
for
for
having me.
coming. It was wonderful having this chat with you, and I hope we'll have other ones again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me know when we are both in the country
Yes.
or in the same city.
Perfect.
All
Cheers,
right.
man.
Cheers,
Thank
Othman.
you.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
All right.